Welcome to Mysteries in Crime, your go-to channel for exploring the most captivating and perplexing true crime stories. If you love unraveling mysteries and piecing together the puzzles of history's most chilling cases, you're in the right place. Before we dive into today's story, a quick reminder: hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to share your thoughts or case suggestions in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Today we unravel the perplexing and deeply unsettling case of Kendrick Johnson, a 17-year-old student from Valdosta, Georgia. His mysterious death in 2013 sparked outrage, controversy, and lingering questions that have yet to find satisfying answers. Was it a tragic accident, or is there more to this story than meets the eye? Join us as we delve into the details, the investigation, and the enduring mysteries surrounding the death of Kendrick Johnson. The circumstances of Kendrick Johnson's death have made it one of the most debated cases in recent history. From the moment his body was discovered, the atmosphere at Lowndes High School shifted from ordinary to deeply unsettling. Students, teachers, and staff were stunned by the grim reality that such an incident could occur in their midst. How could a promising young life be cut short in a place meant to nurture growth and learning? Authorities quickly cordoned off the area, treating it as a potential crime scene. Kendrick's body was found in an upright position within the rolled-up mat, with one arm extended and the other near his torso. His shoes were at the bottom of the mat, sparking the initial theory that he had been reaching for them when he became trapped. Investigators speculated that he may have suffocated after being unable to climb out. Despite the seemingly logical explanation, Kendrick's family and friends immediately expressed doubts. Jackie Johnson, Kendrick's mother, described him as resourceful and athletic, someone unlikely to make such a fatal mistake. To them, the circumstances didn't add up. How could Kendrick end up in such a position without assistance or foul play? And why hadn't anyone noticed his absence sooner? As investigators pieced together the timeline of events, the Johnson family launched their own efforts to uncover the truth. Jackie and Kenneth Johnson began to question not only the circumstances of Kendrick's death, but also the procedures followed by the authorities. They noted that key details, such as the time of death, were either vague or inconsistent. Their frustration grew as they pressed for answers, only to be met with what they perceived as dismissive responses. The community's reaction was swift and polarized. Some residents of Valdosta rallied behind the Johnson family, offering emotional support and demanding a more thorough investigation. Others, however, expressed skepticism, suggesting that the tragic death might indeed have been an accident. This divide mirrored a broader national conversation about race, privilege, and the justice system, as Kendrick was an African-American student attending a predominantly white school. Meanwhile, journalists and true crime enthusiasts began to dig into the case, uncovering troubling details that raised more questions than answers. How could a gym full of students and staff fail to notice someone climbing into a mat and becoming trapped? And why was there such a significant delay in discovering Kendrick's body? These unanswered questions only deepened the sense of unease surrounding the case. As the investigation unfolded, inconsistencies began to emerge, further fueling the Johnson family's doubts. The gym mats, typically used by athletes for practice and storage, were heavy and cumbersome, requiring considerable effort to move. How could Kendrick have climbed into one without anyone noticing? And if he had, why was there no evidence of a struggle or signs that he had called out for help? These questions, along with the lack of eyewitness accounts, created an air of mystery that permeated the case. Another point of contention was the time it took to notify Kendrick's family after his body was discovered. Jackie Johnson described the agonizing hours of waiting for answers, only to be met with vague explanations and conflicting accounts. To her, this delay felt like a disregard for her son's life and a failure of the system to prioritize the dignity and respect her family deserved. In the weeks following the discovery, the school and local law enforcement faced mounting criticism. Community members questioned the decision to rule the death accidental so quickly, pointing to gaps in the investigation that seemed to demand further scrutiny. Meanwhile, whispers of a deeper conspiracy began to circulate, with some suggesting that influential families in the area were working to suppress the truth. The Johnson family's suspicions about a cover-up grew as they uncovered additional inconsistencies. Kendrick's belongings, including his sneakers and personal items, were found in disarray, yet no official explanation accounted for their condition. Jackie Johnson described feeling as though her family was being stonewalled, with crucial information withheld or dismissed outright. The school administration faced growing pressure to provide answers, but their responses were guarded. They cited the ongoing investigation as a reason for their silence. But for Kendrick's parents, this lack of transparency only deepened their mistrust. They questioned how a school environment where hundreds of students and staff were present daily could fail to notice Kendrick's absence until it was too late. Rumors began circulating about potential witnesses who had been silenced or intimidated, adding fuel to the fire of conspiracy theories. While these claims remain unsubstantiated, they reflect the pervasive sense of unease and suspicion that surrounded the case from the beginning. For the Johnson family, every unanswered question represented a piece of the puzzle that might hold the key to understanding what truly happened to their son. The discovery of Kendrick's body was a turning point, not only for his family, but for the entire community. It brought to light the deep vulnerabilities present in spaces that should be safe havens. For students and parents alike, the realization that something so horrific could happen in a school gymnasium was both shocking and deeply unsettling. The Johnson family's determination to seek the truth struck a chord with people far beyond Valdosta, sparking conversations about accountability and the story begins on January 10th, 2013, when Kendrick Johnson, a vibrant and athletic teenager, went missing during school hours at Lowndes High School. Known for his love of basketball and football, Kendrick was a well-liked student with dreams of pursuing a career in sports. The day started like any other, but by the evening, his parents grew worried when he failed to return home. A search of the school led to a shocking and grim discovery. On January 11th, Kendrick's body was found rolled up inside a gym mat in the school's gymnasium. The mats, which were stored vertically, were used by students to practice and store athletic gear. His body was discovered after students noticed a strong odor and alerted authorities. The initial reaction was one of disbelief and horror. How could something like this happen in a secure school environment? The investigation proceeded under intense scrutiny from both the Johnson family and the public. As details began to emerge, so did questions about the thoroughness and impartiality of the authorities handling the case. Surveillance footage from the school was examined, but the images provided little clarity. Kendrick was last seen walking toward the gym, but there were no cameras capturing what happened afterward. Autopsy results added another layer of complexity. The initial report concluded that Kendrick had died of positional asphyxia, a condition that occurs when someone is trapped in a position that restricts breathing. However, an independent autopsy commissioned by the Johnson family revealed a different story. The second examination found evidence of blunt force trauma to Kendrick's neck and head, which was inconsistent with the official cause of death. This revelation ignited a firestorm of controversy. Activists and supporters rallied behind the Johnson family, demanding a reinvestigation and accountability. Protesters took to the streets, holding signs that read, "Justice for Kendrick Johnson." The case gained national attention, with media outlets spotlighting the discrepancies and raising questions about systemic failures in the investigation. As the case gained national attention, prominent activists and civil rights leaders joined the Johnson family in their call for justice. High-profile figures used their platforms to amplify the story, urging a re-examination of the evidence. Candlelight vigils, marches, and social media campaigns kept Kendrick's name in the public eye, ensuring that his case would not fade into obscurity. The independent autopsy findings became a focal point of the controversy. The pathologist who conducted the examination described the injuries as indicative of blunt force trauma, leading to speculation that Kendrick had been assaulted before his death. This finding starkly contradicted the official conclusion of positional asphyxia and added fuel to allegations of foul play. Legal battles ensued as the Johnson family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against several parties, including classmates and school officials. The suit alleged that Kendrick had been attacked by peers and that the school had failed to protect him. Although the lawsuit was later dismissed, it underscored the family's unwavering belief that Kendrick's death was not an accident. The mounting evidence, or lack thereof, led many to believe that Kendrick's case was emblematic of broader issues within the justice system. For the Johnson family, this wasn't just about their son. It was about ensuring that no other family would have to endure the same pain and uncertainty. Their advocacy efforts included public rallies, media interviews, and a relentless push for transparency. The role of race in the investigation became a central point of discussion. Kendrick, a young black man, was described by friends and family as kind-hearted and ambitious, someone who dreamed of making a difference in the world. Yet his death and the subsequent investigation highlighted disparities that often plague communities of color. Activists called for an independent inquiry, arguing that systemic biases might have influenced the initial conclusions and the handling of evidence. As the case dragged on, public interest grew, drawing comparisons to other high-profile cases where justice seemed elusive. Social media campaigns like Yas, Justice for Kendrick kept the conversation alive, while documentaries and news specials brought the story to an even wider audience. Despite these efforts, the answers Kendrick's family sought remained out of reach. Public pressure eventually led to the release of surveillance footage from the school, but the videos raised more questions than they answered. Experts hired by the Johnson family analyzed the footage and alleged that it had been tampered with. Missing timestamps and abrupt cuts suggested that critical moments might have been deliberately erased. These allegations further fueled the narrative that someone was working to obscure the truth. In response to the growing outcry, local officials defended their handling of the case, insisting that they had followed all proper procedures. However, the lack of tangible progress and the mounting list of discrepancies undermined public confidence in their claims. Activists and community leaders called for an independent investigation, arguing that only an unbiased third party could uncover the truth. Kendrick's case also highlighted broader issues within the justice system, particularly the challenges faced by families of color in their pursuit of accountability. Jackie and Kenneth Johnson became outspoken advocates, using their platform to draw attention to systemic inequities. Their fight resonated with others who had experienced similar struggles, creating a powerful coalition of voices demanding change. As the case progressed, it became clear that Kendrick's death was more than a personal tragedy. It was a symbol of systemic failures that left many families feeling unheard and unsupported. The Johnson family's relentless pursuit of justice highlighted the emotional toll such battles take, but it also underscored their unyielding love for their son. "We won't stop until we know what happened," Jackie Johnson often said, her voice echoing the sentiments of countless parents who have faced similar battles. The discovery of Kendrick's body raised immediate questions. Law enforcement officials arrived at the scene and began their investigation. Initially, the death was ruled accidental, with the theory suggesting that Kendrick had reached into the rolled-up mat to retrieve a shoe and had become trapped, unable to escape. However, this explanation did little to quell the mounting concerns of Kendrick's family and the wider community. Kendrick's parents, Jackie and Kenneth Johnson, were vocal in their belief that foul play was involved. They questioned how Kendrick, an athletic young man, could become trapped so easily and pointed to inconsistencies in the initial investigation. Over the following months, their quest for answers would uncover a series of troubling details that cast doubt on the official narrative. Among the most contentious aspects of the case was the handling of evidence. Kendrick's clothes were missing when his body was returned to the family, and the mat in which he was found had been removed from the gym before forensic teams could complete their analysis. These lapses fueled suspicions of a cover-up. Further complicating matters were allegations of tampering with the surveillance footage. Experts hired by the Johnson family claimed that key segments of video from the school were missing or altered. These allegations added weight to the belief that the truth about Kendrick's death was being deliberately obscured. In 2021, after years of advocacy and legal battles, the case was reopened by the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office. This development brought renewed hope to Kendrick's family and supporters, but it also reignited debates about the integrity of the initial investigation. Despite the passage of time, the questions remain. What really happened to Kendrick Johnson? And will his family ever find the justice they deserve? Despite the reopening of the case, progress has been slow, and frustrations remain high. The Johnson family continues to fight for accountability, often facing bureaucratic hurdles and resistance from local authorities. Their determination, however, has inspired countless supporters who see Kendrick's case as a symbol of the broader fight for justice in cases where marginalized voices are often ignored. In recent years, advancements in forensic technology have sparked hope that new evidence could come to light. Techniques such as enhanced DNA analysis and digital reconstruction of surveillance footage hold the potential to clarify the events leading up to Kendrick's death. Yet, these methods require time, funding, and cooperation from law enforcement agencies, resources that are not always readily available in cold case investigations. As the mystery of Kendrick Johnson's death persists, his legacy continues to resonate. Advocacy groups and community leaders have used his story to highlight systemic issues in the justice system and to push for reforms that prioritize transparency and accountability. For many, Kendrick's name has become synonymous with the ongoing struggle for truth and equity in the face of adversity. As years passed, the Johnson family's fight for justice evolved into a broader movement for accountability and reform. Their persistence inspired legislation aimed at improving the transparency of investigations and ensuring that families have access to critical information. These efforts, while commendable, were bittersweet. They were born out of a tragedy that should never have happened. The reopening of Kendrick's case brought renewed scrutiny to the evidence, but progress was slow. Investigators revisited key pieces of forensic data, including DNA samples that had been overlooked or dismissed during the initial inquiry. The Johnson family held on to hope that modern technology could finally provide the breakthrough they had been waiting for. Meanwhile, Kendrick's story continued to resonate with people across the country. Schools, community centers, and advocacy organizations held events in his honor, using his name as a rallying cry for justice and equality. For many, Kendrick's case symbolized the urgent need to address systemic flaws in the justice system and to amplify the voices of those who are too often ignored. In the years since Kendrick's death, his family has worked tirelessly to keep his memory alive. Annual vigils, community events, and scholarship programs have been established in his name, ensuring that his story continues to inspire action and awareness. For Jackie and Kenneth Johnson, this work is both a tribute to their son and a means of channeling their grief into positive change. The reopening of Kendrick's case brought renewed hope, but also new challenges. Investigators faced the daunting task of piecing together a narrative from evidence that was years old. Advances in forensic technology offered some promise, but the passage of time had taken its toll on the integrity of the evidence. Despite these obstacles, the Johnson family remained steadfast in their belief that the truth would eventually come to light. As we reflect on Kendrick Johnson's story, it's impossible not to be struck by the resilience of his family and the impact of their fight for justice. Kendrick's death is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of accountability in ensuring that tragedies like this are not repeated. His legacy serves as a call to action for all of us to demand a more equitable and transparent system, one that values every life equally and seeks justice without compromise. Ultimately, Kendrick Johnson's story is one that demands reflection. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about justice, equity, and the value of human life. His family's fight is a testament to the power of resilience and the enduring hope that truth will prevail. For every question that remains unanswered, there is a lesson to be learned, a lesson about the importance of advocacy, the strength of community, and the unbreakable bonds of family. As Kendrick's case continues to inspire debates and investigations, one thing remains certain: his story will not be forgotten. It serves as a reminder of the work that still needs to be done to create a world where justice is truly blind and every voice is heard. The legacy of Kendrick Johnson is not just one of tragedy, but of hope, perseverance, and the enduring quest for truth. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the tragic and unresolved case of Kendrick Johnson. His story serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of justice, equity, and perseverance in the face of adversity. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your theories or suggestions for future cases to explore. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and stay safe.